Hey everyone, it's Selena here. Thanks for watching this tutorial. If you have purchased your font bundle already, this tutorial is going to show you how to use your fonts in Design Space. Not only Design Space, but also Inkscape and Adobe Illustrator. If you have not purchased your bundle set yet, take a look at this video to see how easy it is to use these fonts in Design Space. This is an amazing font bundle with over 70 fonts for $29. On top of that, I give you a discount code to give you an additional 20% off. So that is less than 30 cents per font, which is amazing. So I suggest you go check it out and look at all the fonts that you can use for Design Space. Not only Design Space, you can use it in Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, whatever software you use with text, you can use it there. Also, with the purchase of this bundle, you get unlimited support with the Hungry Jpeg. You get unlimited downloads, so you can download on as many computers as you want. You get commercial license, so not only personal use, you can use this for your business. You can print things with these fonts, cut things out with these fonts, however you want to use them, and sell them. For more information on your commercial license, please read the documentation that's included. And I do want to show you that under documentation, all these links here you can access before you make your purchase, so you can see what fonts are included. The font capability, which is number 3, is very important. That's going to show you which fonts can be, let me rephrase that. All fonts can be used in Design Space, period. Okay? They can all be used in Design Space. Now when it comes to the alternative characters, which are any of the decorative swashes or swirls that you find at the beginning, ending, middle of the text, those are called alternative characters. So depending on how these texts or these fonts are coded determines how to use them. So you have some that you don't need any additional software. You can just use them straight in Design Space, which I'm going to show you how to do that. There are some that you need to use your character map, which I work off of a PC, so it's called Character Map, which is already downloaded on your PC when you make your purchase on your computer. It's just the fact of you going out there and searching for it, so I'll show you how to do that. Another way to find some of the alternative characters is by having a designer software such as Adobe Illustrator, and that's another software that I'm going to show you or give you an example on how to pull those up. So again, all fonts can be used in Design Space. It's just the extras, depending on which font it is, that you might not be able to access. But we're going to go through that, and I'm not going to go through every single one because 70 fonts is a lot of fonts to go through. But you'll get the idea. As long as you read the documentation that's included, it's very important because they include a lot of information for you so that you're not left in the dark. You'll know what you need to do what with, okay? All right, so if you haven't checked out my tutorial on how to install your fonts, please check that out. I'll have it linked down below so that you know how to install your fonts and get them into Design Space. Okay, but from here, I'm going to show you, since I already have them downloaded, I need to show you the documentation that's included. So the simple guide is basically this snapshot here. At the beginning of the page, you're going to see all of these fonts that are included, which is just a summary of what they are, the names of them and what they look like. You keep scrolling down and it's going to number each font and what's included, okay? So this hand type toolkit already has 15 fonts included. These are all the fonts, what's included, commercial license, lifetime download guarantee, unlimited free support, and it tells you all characters are 100% accessible to all, so there is no additional software needed in order to access these fonts. Okay, and then it shows you any additional extras that they've included, which are hand-drawn illustrations. And this is going to show you either you need Adobe Illustrator, that's what AI stands for, or Photoshop. And they also include PNG files, which PNGs you can access in Design Space. It also includes 6 poster quotes and 15 patterns. So that's all included. The next one is Sweetness Script. Same thing, it's going to give an overview of the font. These are PUA encoded, so if you're familiar with the Samantha font, which is a very popular font, you need your character map in order to use those. And like I said, that's already downloaded on your computer. If you work on a Mac, I'm not too sure what it's called. Same thing, you can also use Fontbook. I believe it's called myfontbook.com. And you can access those PUA encoded extras, which is something like this. On this end, there's that swirl at the bottom. That's something that you can access with that character map, and I'll show you that in this tutorial. So it's going to show you what's included, and then down to the next one. So just be sure to read all of this. I mean, maybe not read every single one, but I'm going to go down to the next link, which is a complete guide, and it's basically going to show you all of these pictures that are included. Okay, so you can print something out like that, but that one might be a little lengthy. Me personally, what I do when I purchase my bundles, I print the first page because I like to see a snapshot of all of the fonts. So I'll print this page, which is right here on the simple guide, and then I will print out the font capability, and I'll print out the Dingbat file or documentation. So let's click on font capability. This documentation is going to show you which fonts can be used with what and how to access those alternative characters or any additional clip art or dingbats that are included. Okay, so let's zoom in here. I suggest to print this. Alright, so it's going to be alphabetically ordered of all the font names. Then it's going to show you standard characters. For every one of them, it's going to say accessible on all programs. Okay, so again, all of these fonts can be used in Design Space. Okay, then it's going to show you if this font has any dingbats or ornaments. Okay, most of these say none. This one has some. This one has some. So we'll look at that page to see what those are. Any design extras. It's going to let you know if there are any design extras. If there is, what you need to access those. So these are going to be like any type of illustrations, clip arts, anything like that. And then the next column is those alternate characters, which are those pretty swirls that we love to see. So it's going to let you know if the font includes it, and if it does, what you need to use in order to access them. Now, if you do not have Adobe Illustrator, then unfortunately you cannot access the extras or any of these other softwares here that they include. If you do not, and you really, really want to access those extras, I would suggest to download the trial version of Adobe Illustrator. You'll get a trial version for 30 days. There is no obligation to buy. Check it out. I would say to either look for some YouTube videos that go over some basic font or text tutorials for Adobe Illustrator. And then also I'm going to show you in this video. I don't know Adobe Illustrator really at all. I only know the basics of what I need in order to get those alternate characters. So you can just look at that as well if that's really all you need it for. But I would say that, you know, just really think about that, because you either would need to purchase the software, which is a little over $100, or you can pay per month, which is what I do. And I think it's like $9.99 or $14.99. And that's really only if it's something serious that you really, really need those extras. Or if you plan to learn the software and put it to better use, then go ahead, go for it. So this is going to show you what's needed. So this one here, this font here, and Angelova, this is a very, very thin font. For those of you that are wanting extra writing style fonts, this is a perfect one. There was several in the previous bundle. If you watch my tutorial, I believe I point some of those out. These are perfect for writing style fonts. Now, all fonts, anything outside of a writing style Cricut font will write in an outline, but because this font is so thin, it will look like a one-line font. So in order to get those alternate characters for this font, it says 100% accessible to all. So you'll be able to get those if you do not have, if you don't know Inkscape, or you don't know Adobe, or you don't own Adobe Illustrator, anything like that. Just know when it says 100% accessible to all, that means that you can use those alternate characters in Design Space only. Okay, and it may be either that they've added additional fonts that are like the right swash or left swash, and I'll kind of explain what that means. Or you'll need to use your character map, which I said that's something that does not need to be purchased. It's nothing additional that you need to purchase. It's something that you already have. I just need to show you how to get to it, okay? So like I said, this is a very important document so that you can understand which fonts have those extras, what you need to access those extras. Here, look, on this font here, it's called Imagine. So it says Imagine includes 3 fonts. It's going to have the regular font, the left font, and the right font. And what that means is that this swirl to the left, all of these letters, A through Z, is going to have that little swash to the left. So what you would do in Design Space is you would just change this out, and I'll show you, to the left, and you'll add it to your word. Same thing for the E. This is the right swash. So it's going to have all the letters with the swashes to the right. So that's a perfect example on what you can use in Design Space only. Now, you won't even need character map for this one. So like I said, print this document. Very, very helpful. Okay, let's go back to the bundle. The next one is the Dingbat's Ornament Guide. So this is going to show you if any of your fonts include any Dingbats, if they do, how to access them, and it's basically just typing on your keyboard. So it's taking a little while to load everything, but some of these do not have any Dingbats included. So I'm just going to keep scrolling until we see one. Now, this isn't necessarily a dingbat. These are just font variations. So this font has the regular font, the bold font, dotted, and shadow. So you'll have 4 fonts for this one. Same thing for this. There's the regular and then alternate. And then these are some swashes. So these are just little decorative things that you can use. I personally probably wouldn't use any of these, but this is where it shows you how to access them by these keys. Okay, so this one here is saying Chasing Embers includes a bonus grain texture, which is in a PNG format. So when I was referring to, in my other video where I show you how to download the font, I stress to you, do not forget about the other folders, because there's those folders. If you do a quick install and forget about the other folders in your font files, you might have some stuff in there that you're missing. So this is just letting you know that you have other things included with that. Same thing with this. This shows your illustrations that are included. Here's some more swashes. Here's some dingbats. These are some words and some little clip arts. Okay, this is the 6 font pack. So this pack contains 6 fonts, which are shown below, and so on. Okay, so that's another good thing to have printed and have in a binder. Hopefully when I get time to do it, I will do a video on a binder with all of my font bundles, because I have quite a bit and I don't see myself stopping at that. So I'll have quite a bit more. So I want to keep everything organized where it's easily accessible. I know what I have. Alright, the next one is how to install fonts. So I have that video linked down below. If you want to see step-by-step how to do that, just watch that video, or you can click on this documentation and it'll show you how to do it. The 6th document is letter spacing and kerning guide. 7, what are open type features? 8 are some of your fonts being cut off in Microsoft Word. If it is, it tells you how to fix that. And number 9, the super quick install guide, which is the same thing as how to install fonts, except it's a super quick way. And I explain that in that tutorial as well. Alright, so we've gone over pretty much over everything that's included, all of the information that you need to know, what I suggest for you to print and keep. So let's go over to Design Space. Be sure that after you install your fonts to either refresh your Cricut Design Space page or have it closed before installing all of your fonts. Because if you do not refresh your page or sign out and sign back in after you downloaded fonts, you won't be able to see them in your font drop-down list. So just be sure to refresh your page so that you can see your fonts after you've downloaded them. Okay, so let me sign in here. Alright, so the first example I'm going to show you is how to access a font in Design Space only without using the character map and without using Adobe Illustrator or Inkscape. So let's type in Alright, so I'm going to go into my edit panel and I'm going to drop down and look for a font. So that font that I had pointed out, which is Imagine, that one has 3 fonts included. So it's going to be your left, your regular, and your right. So let's say that I want to change the H and the O of the word so that it has a little swash on the left and one going to the right. So I'll show you how to do that as soon as my fonts, let's wait here. I might have too many tabs open right now. Okay, so Imagine is the font that I'm looking for. So it's very tiny, but here's Imagine. Here's Imagine left, and here's Imagine right. So I'm going to change it to Imagine. And this is what it looks like. Now in Design Space, your spacing is always going to be different than if you were to type it in Inkscape or Microsoft Word or another software. You're going to have some spacing in between. So in order to change that or to fix it, you would need to use either the letter spacing option here, which you can use the up or down arrows, so down would scoop them closer together, or you can isolate the text, which is basically going to ungroup them, or you can ungroup them, which is going into your layers panel and ungrouping there, or right clicking and ungrouping that way. So in this case, for this particular example, which is called the Imagine font, the swashes are only on the lowercase letters. So if I were to choose, what I'm going to do is I need to duplicate this a couple of times. So I want to have one line for the regular letters, and I want to have one line for the left one, which is the H is what I'm going to change, and I'm going to also need another one for the O on the end, because you cannot have different fonts within one text line, so you will need to duplicate them and change them that way. So let me change this down to the lowercase. Okay, so that's the regular one. Let's do the same thing for this one, but on this one I'm going to change it to Imagine left. So you're going to see all of these are going to change with a little swirl to the left. Okay, so on this one I don't need all the rest of them, I just need the H. And then we're going to do the same thing for this one, but we're going to change this one to the right. And I'm just going to delete all of them except for the O. And then I'm going to go back to the top one. I'm going to delete the H and the O. Okay, so now I have the decorative swatch on the left and I have the decorative swatch on the right. Now, if I wanted to have this cut out of vinyl, I personally, the way this font looks, I wouldn't want all this spacing in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate these letters and I'm going to scoot these all together. Alright, and then after that I would select all the letters. And I would weld them together. I'm actually going to scoot this over just a tad. There we go. And weld. And now this will cut out all as one. Alright, so with that example, like I said, I needed nothing else but just design space. I just needed to change those couple of letters by using either the left or the right of that font. And so if you look at that documentation, it'll show you if there's any other ones that have any additional fonts like that where you can just use design space. Alright, so the next example I'm going to use is one that we need to use our character map. And I'll show you how to do that in Design Space, and I'll also show it how you can do it in Inkscape. So let's put another text line. I'll just use the same word. And we're going to change this font to one that needs the character map, which is Sweetness. Okay, so this is what the font looks like without any alternate characters. I'm going to go up to the Layers panel. I'm going to duplicate it a couple of times. Actually, I don't need to do it with character map. Only with, if you're going to be changing different fonts within the same, let me rephrase that. You cannot change one text line with different fonts. But with the character map, you can. I don't know, hopefully I don't confuse you with that. When you're going to use the drop down to choose a font, you have to have separate font text lines to be changing the fonts, whether it's the left, the right. But when you're using the character map, you can copy and paste within the same text line. Just try to remember that. So take notes, please. Okay, so the character map, if you've never used character map before, like I said, I'm using Windows 10. I'm trying to scoot this down so that you can see. You can see my taskbar at the bottom of the screen is pretty packed here. But these are things that I go to quite often. I use my snipping tool a lot. I use Inkscape all the time. Here's my character map. And then this one here is basically like character map, except it's called Babel Map. And I have a tutorial on that as well, so I'll have that link down below. This is really great. If you've ever used a character map before, you're gonna say it's very frustrating because it's very tiny. It's hard for you to find your characters. It's just not easy on the eyes. Babel Map is really great. You can see your text or the characters pretty easily, and I love it. So I don't even use character map anymore. I'm just going to use character map in this example so that you can see what it looks like and how to look for it. So all of these that I have down here are all pinned to my taskbar, and I'll show you how to do that. So this is what the character map looks like. I just got out of it. Okay, this is what it looks like. And here are the characters, the extra characters that we want to look for, and it's pretty tiny. I don't like using it. But since I'm working on Windows 10, what I can do is I can just type here at the bottom. I can start typing. I'm going to type character. And once I start typing it, it's going to find it for me. It's telling me it's a desktop app. And so what I did was I right-clicked on this, and I pin. It says unpin because I've already pinned it, but you can pin to the taskbar or to your start menu. But I like to pin it at the bottom so that I can see it. So it's pretty easy to get to. All right, so once it's there, and that's it. But if you're not working on Windows 10, just go to your Start menu and do the same thing. However you search for your programs, just start typing character map. And you can either save it to your desktop or to your Start menu or to your taskbar. And once we do that, we're working with sweetness. So I'm going to look for the sweetness font. Okay, so it's sweetness script, so we're going to select that one. And then character set should automatically default to Unicode. If not, put it to Unicode. And then group by, we're going to drop it down to Unicode subrange. When you select when you select Unicode subrange, it's going to bring up this group by. You're going to scroll down and you're going to choose private use characters. And that's where we have all of our extra alternate characters for this. Okay, so what are we going to change here? We're going to change the H and the O. Remember, you don't need to duplicate this one. So we're going to just all do it within one text line. All right, so I'm going to look for an H. And here are the H's. So you either have this one here, this one here, this one here, or this one here. So let's do the loop to the left. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to choose select. And I'm going to highlight it and copy it. So you got that, right? So we're going to have it selected up here. We're going to select it, or I'm going to highlight it, select it, and copy it. Okay? Go back to the text line, double click. I'm going to highlight that first H, and I'm going to paste it. So you can either right click and paste, or you can use your shortcuts, which is Control V as in Victor to paste. I'm going to paste it, and it's going to show this little square. That's just the code, okay? But you can see the H is there. All right, so there's that swirly H. We're going to go back to that character map. Change the O. So let's look for the O. And I want to do the O to the right, the little swirly to the right. So I'm going to hit select. I'm going to highlight and copy it. Okay, double click on here. I'm going to paste that O, which is that little square code looking thing, and it changed the O. All right, so now we can do either your letter spacing or isolate or ungroup your letters and scooch them together that way. So that was pretty easy, right? I didn't have to do any duplicates. I could change it all within one text line. I'm just going to weld them together. I'm going to undo that because it didn't weld right. Sometimes Design Space can be a little funny. So just kind of have some patience and just work with it, you know, a couple of different ways. But that's how it's welding, okay? Now I'm going to let you know that my personal preference when I'm messing with fonts, when I'm doing my alternate characters, all kinds of stuff like that, I love to use Inkscape. It's just so much easier for me. Although that was pretty easy to do, I love using Inkscape when I'm working with alternate characters and just my design overall. I like using Inkscape, okay? So I'm also going to show you that in my example. So let's open up Inkscape. And let me get rid of some of the stuff that I was working on. Okay, so same thing with Inkscape. I'm going to add a text line, which is this A here, and I'm going to do hello. Okay, I'm going to change this to sweetness script, which is there. Alright, now with this example, I'm going to show you the Babel map, which is the one that I told you is really easy on the eyes. Alright, so check out that link down below so that you can see, because I'm not going to explain everything on this one. But let's change this to sweetness. Look for that one there. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to change the H. Let's choose a different H. So here, look at that. Isn't that awesome? I mean, I can really see what I'm looking for now. Alright, so I'm going to choose that H. Select it. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to come right over here and I'm going to paste it. Let's bring that back up and let's look for an O. So on the O, we only have two options. So let's choose that one that we used in the other example. Copy it and paste it. Okay, so once I'm done with that, I'm going to go up to Path, and I do Object to Path, because if I tried saving it just the way it was, it's still saved. It would be saved as a text line, and when you upload it into Design Space, it's not saved as a correct SVG. So what I did was I changed it from a text to an object. So I did Object to Path. Then I want if I left it the way it is, it would be separated. So it would be the H, the E, everything would cut out separately. So I want to kind of like weld it the way you do in Design Space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Path and I'm going to select Union. Union is like weld. Alright, so I'm done there. So I'm going to go up to File. I'm going to save it. And let's just do Hello SVG. Let's go back to Design Space. Close this out. And I'm just going to upload it like you would an SVG. Another reason why I like doing it in Inkscape, one, it's easier. To me, it's easier. It's just quicker for me. I work quicker in Inkscape. But you just have that file to use elsewhere. So you're not just tied to Design Space. Okay, let's look for that file. Okay, I obviously did not save that correctly. So as you can see, it tells you unsupported SVG items will be dropped. Text elements, import anyway. You can choose continue, but it's probably not going to save or look right. Let's just try it anyways, but I think I missed a step. Okay, so you can see they're all separated. If I were to ungroup them, I can move them around. So I did not weld them together correctly. So let's go back. I'm not too sure what happened here. We select them again. And union. Okay, I guess the first time didn't work. Okay, now it's saved correctly. So let's go back and upload it again. And I'm not too sure why I'm getting that error message because it's coming in correctly. See, now this one is all together. It's not separated. So this should work just fine. I'm going to delete this one. And let's go on to the next step to see what it does. But now it looks correct. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to go to the steps so that we can make sure that it's saved correctly. But although it was giving us that error message, it's still saved. It saved fine. It came in okay. It uploaded great. It's going to cut great. But still, I want to be able to give you the correct steps to doing so that you don't get freaked out once you see that error message and think that you did it wrong. Like I said, you can go ahead and try and upload it, but you know, it's up to you. So we're going to change that back to this script, and let's just change this last one here. All right. So once you change it, this is still considered a text line. I'm going to go up to path, and I'm just going to weld them together. I didn't even have to do trace bitmap. Once you do a different command, whether it's welding them together by union or any of the other ones, it actually just changes your file to an image. It's no longer a text line. So let's save this one and see what happens. See if it gives us that error message. Let's go back to upload. It's still giving it to me. I don't know. That I have to look into, but I'm going to upload it anyways because I feel I did everything correctly. So you can see here it's welded together. It's going to cut just fine. So I'm not too sure about that. It might be a glitch in Inkscape or something. So there's the example given to you in Inkscape. Okay. Now let's do Adobe Illustrator. So we're going to choose a font that it can only be accessible by using Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so we're going to add a text line here. Do the same thing. And we're going to change this to, I'm going to have to go back to the bundle set because I'm not too sure which one. Okay, graceful. Let's do graceful. So let's change this to graceful. Okay, and I'm going to close this out so I can show you how to get to it. Alright, so in this one, we need to access those alternate characters. So you're going to go up to type and choose glyphs. This box is going to open up, and this is what I do. I select alternates for current selection. What that means is when you highlight something from here, it's going to show you the alternates for that particular letter. Now you can choose for entire font. It's going to give you everything. But to me, it's easier just to see those alternates for that current selected letter. Okay, so you can see that you can use this one and you just double click on it, or this one. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing for the O. And it's just as easy as that. So I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to make it smaller so that we could see it on this page. Okay, and then when saving this, you would go to File, Save As. Now, Adobe Illustrator files cannot be uploaded into Design Space. It would have to be an SVG file, okay? But this is still considered a text line, just like it was in Inkscape. So this is what we have to do. And we're going to go to Create Outlines. Okay? Now this is, you can see all the nodes. This is now an image. It's no longer a text line. Okay? So we can go now to save it. Save As. And let's save it where we know where to find it. I'm going to do hello to SVG. Remember to drop this down to SVG and save. And OK. Alright, so we're going to close that out, go back to Design Space, and let's upload that one we just saved. And it was hello to. And save. And there it is. So pretty. Okay. So those are the different ways. Design Space. So those alternate fonts that have the right and left, be sure to just change those fonts by duplicating and then changing whichever letters, and then, you know, kind of manipulating them, ungrouping and scooting them together, and if you want to weld them that way, or by Inkscape or Design Space by using your character map or Babel map. Same thing with Inkscape, using your character map or Babel map. And also Adobe Illustrator for those characters that you cannot access in the Design Space or Inkscape, and how to do it that way. So just take notes, rewind, replay it. You know, as long as you get those steps down, it's pretty easy. A lot of you always say that I make things look so easy. I didn't know anything how to do any of this. So once you get familiar with it, it's going to be really easy, and you're going to be just, you know, it's going to come natural to you guys. All right, I wanted to show you that one text that's like a writing style font. So let's do Happy Birthday. And the name of the font is Angelova. So we're going to change that. I have a lot of fonts going on here, so it just takes a little while to pull that up. So it's right there. Is that the right one? Let me make sure. Okay, I didn't select the right one. Okay. Here it is. Now if I make it extremely big, you can see that there's an outline. But because if you're going to be writing on a card, you know, for the most part it's going to be small text. So this will look like it's a writing style font if you have it around this size. So just, you know, change your spacing so that it looks like one line. But I'm going to go to Inkscape because this is my go-to, okay? And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I also like that the spacing is you know, a little bit, it's pretty much the way I want it to look. So you can do that. You can go up to Path and Union and then save. And do happy birthday. I'm just going to put writing style. Okay, let's upload that. Might seem like a lot of steps to you guys, but it goes by really quick. It's just that I'm explaining it to you, so it might seem, you know, more lengthy than normal. Yeah, it gave me that error, but it's fine. Okay. So there's happy birthday. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller so that it fits in here. And then we're going to change that layer to write. And you're done. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And also email hello@thehungryjpeg.com, which I'll have that information also. They will help you and get you on your way to using your new bundle pack. Please post your pictures. I want to see those projects with this new bundle set. I think it's a really great bundle at a really great price, and I love their customer service. I just love everything that the Hungry Jpeg offers, and keep checking out their website. You'll see lots of posts from me because I highly support them. They're coming out with some really new things for us crafters, so it's something to look forward to, and I'm really excited. So I hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next video.